Ofure the cursed healer. A long time ago, in a Saba village, a group of people found themselves cursed. It all began when a terrible plague ravaged their land, attacking their bodies and leaving them marked with a curse. This group of people were filled with despair and sorrow as they were isolated from the rest of the villagers. Since then, any descendant of theirs became cursed like them. Among this cursed group of people, there was a girl named Ofure. Unlike the others, Ofure always liked to dress like a freeborn instead of wearing the black uniform that marks their curse. She had a unique spirit and a beauty that seemed to shine through the darkness. Ofure would sneak into the freeborn area to have a feel of free life. It was this captivating spirit that caught the attention of Prince Rukewe, the noble and kind-hearted crown prince of the kingdom. Prince Rukewe had always been drawn to inner beauty, so when he met Ofure, he found himself falling deeply in love with her. He began to daydream about Ofure and always wished to be with her. He would talk so much about her to his right-hand man, but refused to make her known to anyone. Over time, the prince's right-hand man, Ejiro, decided to find out who the prince was seeing that was giving him so much joy. Unknown to Prince Rukewe, Ejiro traced him to a meeting joint with Ofure. After seeing Ofure, Ejiro felt something was not right with Ofure, and he decided to follow Ofure to her place to investigate her family. He tried many times but couldn't succeed as Ofure would always outsmart him. Ofure's suspicious behavior made Ejiro conclude something was really wrong with her, and he vowed to save the prince from any impending harm. A day came and Ejiro saw Ofure in the black attire that signified them as people under a curse. He confronted and blamed her for allowing the prince to fall in love with her. Ejiro then advised her to either tell the prince who she was, quit the relationship, or face the death penalty when the prince or king finally found out. Ofure, who was also in love with the prince, went to her mother for advice. She opened up to her mother about how much she loved the prince. Her mother advised her to tell the prince. She made her understand that it is better she tell the prince by herself than allow other people to tell him or he found out by himself. Her mother assured her her destiny would make everything right. On one fateful day, Prince Rukewe and Ejiro, his right-hand man, were having evening strolling around the village when they bumped into two maidens wearing black. As tradition demanded, the cours should hide their faces from the royal family so that they won't defile them in any way. Prince Rukewe had a strange feeling and demanded to see the maidens' faces. On raising their faces, behold, one of them was Ofure. The prince was shocked and disappointed at the same time. He tried to say something, but Ejiro stopped him and advised the prince to leave from their presence. Prince Rukewe left in anger. Ejiro made him understand that he would have informed him earlier, but the prince's love for Ofure kept increasing and he couldn't be the instrument for their separation. Even after discovering the truth, the prince's love for Ofure was still very strong. He headed home thinking of the next line of action. However, there was Rume, Ejiro's sister, who had been in love with the prince and desired to be his wife. Fueled by envy, she was determined to expose Ofure before the king and ruin her chances of becoming Prince's wife. Just before Prince Rukewe would return home, Rume informed the king about Ofure, leading to Ofure's arrest and being kept in prison, waiting for her to be sentenced to death. Rume threatened to spread the news throughout the village if she was not betrothed to the prince immediately. This outcome of the event caused sorrow and despair in the hearts of both Ofure and Prince Rukewe. Just as their lives seemed to be crumbling around them, tragedy struck the village once more. Another plague, more severe than before, attacked the village. All the members of the king's cabinet were all affected. On receiving the news, the king, ruler of the land, was afflicted too. He became so sick and showed no sign of recovery. Desperation filled the air as the people sought healing from anywhere and everywhere. In the midst of this chaos, Prince Rukewe remembered that Ofure, the accursed girl who had once treated him cold, possessed a gift of healing. She had the power to heal the sick and provide relief from suffering. The prince, with the help of the princess, pleaded with Ofure to save their father and king. It was their last hope. Ofure, knowing the value of her gift, made a humble request to the king. In return for her ability to heal him, she asked that the king pronounce her people free from their curse and allow them to mingle freely with the freeborn villagers. She made the king understand that it was this kind of plague that they became people under a curse, and if the king refused to make a pronouncement to abolish the rule that made them people under a curse, the king too would become accursed too. The king, gasping for breath and clinging to life, saw the purity and selflessness in Ofure's heart and agreed to her terms. With the king's proclamation, Ofure approached him and gently laid her hands upon him. The transformative power of her touch flowed through the king's body, banishing the plague that held him captive. The king, once weak and feeble, now stood before his people, whole and healthy once more. At once, all the king's cabinet members that were plagued became healed. Ofure, filled with excitement, rushed to her mother and broke the news of their freedom. Grateful and filled with joy, Ofure and her people rejoiced as they realized their liberation from the curse that had haunted them for so long. Their black attires were removed and burnt. The bell shackles around their ankles were removed. Ofure, now free from her impending death sentence, was embraced by her people and hailed as their savior. Prince Rukewe, seeing the strength and unwavering courage in Ofure, knew without a doubt that she was the one destined for his heart. In a grand ceremony, the prince married Ofure, vowing to love and cherish her for all eternity. And so, love triumphed over curses, and a village once covered in darkness found light and happiness once more. The accursed girl later became a queen, and together with Prince Rukewe, who later became the king after his father, ruled with compassion and understanding, forever cherishing the blessings and the healing power of love. This is Umma's story time. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I am Amarachi Ihoma, the young storyteller.